Yes, back again. This is an actual game 2, one of the few matchups in round 1 that appears to have gone ahead and played a best of 3. This is the Trumpinator, the red Zerg in the top left, versus Robowindsurf, the Terran down in the bottom right. So let's get the production tab up for you in the top left. You may recall that previously Loena Robowindsurf lost the first game to Trumpinator, but it was a close game in all sorts of ways. She could very well have won that game, but in the end the Zerg player wore her down and managed to come through off of 5 bases or something like that. So let's see if the tactics have changed at all. Let's see if they've learned anything from that first match. So the Zerg up to 16 drones should be building now a Overlord, and this drone just taking some minerals for a walk. A fast expand coming down for the Zerg. I like it a lot. So literally expo before anything, and that's quite a strat. Just going right ahead to get hang on, what? Did I miss him building an Overlord? I totally did. He's fine. So yeah, this hatch coming down before pull, so quite an economic sort of opening. The key to beating that type of opening, because if you sit back, the Zerg will just accelerate ahead of you economically and will just outproduce you and crush you. So the key to beating that is knowing that it's happening. Scouting is king. So if you know that they've gone for this ridiculously early hatch, it's going to be a while. That's cost them a lot of money. That's money that they don't have to spend on lings. That's money that they don't have to spend on queens. That's, it's cost them a lot. It takes a while before they start seeing the economic benefit of that, and it certainly delays them having large numbers of units. So the key to beating it is to see it, and when you see it, it's your call how you play it. You could also expand early, knowing that that's going to slow the Zerg down so that you are safe to drop your own expand. Alternatively, if depending on how the opening minute has gone for you, you could just rush out a force of units and march across the map and take the Zerg out. So Loena, however, has not scouted this, has not seen this coming. No scouting from the Trumpinator either, but this Overlord is making its way across the map and will eventually get into the opponent's base and have a look around. This is quite a long map, so if you are playing Zerg, it is pretty common to send an Overlord out. If you're playing against a Terran, there's a pretty strong chance that on a map this size that when you arrive, the Terran will have a Marine, and you can very easily lose that Overlord. So it's up to you how you play it. Some people, depending on your opponent, if you know that they might be up to something suspicious and you're not too sure about it, you can send the Overlord straight in and make sure you get a good look. Another tactic is to park the Overlord somewhere like here and leave it there for a little while, and then suicide it in a little bit later when you know that they'll have some tech structures up so you can have a good look around. Other strats are to park it above this. This counts as raised ground, so the Overlord parked here cannot be seen by ground units, so it can actually just sit here and have a good look at the goings on, or it could sit here and be able to see when the Terran expands, be able to see units passing through here, and that's quite a useful thing to do if you are playing Zerg. So onto this game specifically, what we've seen here for the Zerg player, we have got the Benling nest down. Speed is coming out for the Zerglings, and there is a Roach War as well, so some teching going on, but a little bit confused. These lings, if you're unfamiliar with the Benling nest, lings can be turned into these units, Benlings, which are little kamikaze bombers really. The Benlings explode, killing themselves, but doing a reasonable amount of splash damage around them. They are particularly effective against light units. So things like Marines, things like workers can die very, very quickly to a bunch of Benlings. They can be expensive though, you've got to be careful when you're using Benlings. You've got to think a little bit. It is tempting to just throw huge numbers of Benlings in and smash up, absolutely wreck face with them. But do bear in mind, you lose those Benlings as well, and they do cost you money and they do cost you gas. So it's not for free. So, even though there is something quite pleasing about watching a horde of Benlings plow into an army of Marines and absolutely wreck them, you do have to think about cost efficiency. But it's a classic sort of Zerg thing to send Benlings in. That is what Zerg's about. You flood with units, units that are relatively cheap, and you lose those units and you simply replace them. So, at this stage, given the economic opening that Trumpinator went for, hasn't made full advantage of that, because instead of building workers to saturate this new base that he made, he's built these. So this new base hasn't really served a purpose. All it's done is slow these down a little bit. If you are going to go for the early hatch, your focus then should be on saturating these mineral patches. Had you done that, the money your income would be so high that actually this wouldn't be very much delayed. Whereas if you hadn't dropped that hatch, these Benlings could have been out a lot sooner. Now, this Benling, sometimes called a Benling bust, especially against a Terran. Terrans do like to wall off their ramp with supply depots. Things like that make it very difficult for the Zerg to get in. So a classic Zerg strategy is to use the Benlings to bust open the ramp. So the Benlings go up, plow into these buildings, and wreck them. Something worth noting that by default Benlings will not attack buildings unless you tell them to. So if you right click the building, Benlings will attack it. There you go, standard Benling bust. But what I was going to mention, you need to repair that. You need to repair that Robowindsurf. Oh, good work. Well done. What I was going to mention is there's little point to sending the Benlings on their own. You didn't need as many Benlings as that. The standard way you would play that, half as many Benlings, enough to smash the first building or two, and then behind that you have the 30 lings that run through the gap in the wall and into the mineral line and absolutely smash your opponent's economy. Okay, this is, beginning to look not too bad for Trumpinator. Has dropped a third, and that's great. You should be dropping a third at this time if you went for that early initial hatch. But please saturate these. This third is going to do you no use. You cannot afford to produce units of 3 hatcheries if you're only mining from 1. So you need to look at all these larvae. You need to literally turn an entire round of larvae into drones. And get them mining from here. I know it will cost you money to do that, but you will make that money back so very quickly that it will be well worthwhile, and then you'll be in a much better position. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Loena has got these tech buildings, but hasn't used them. So remember the golden rules in StarCraft. Mine, turn into units. So the mining is happening. Look at the amount of money. Look at the amount of gas, but the unit building is not. You have these buildings capable of producing units, and they are not producing units. And that's absolutely crucial to winning a game of StarCraft. Build, build, build. Always be building the units. If you can afford to build the units, build the units. If you can't afford to build the units, build the workers so that you can then afford to build the units. Now, what is coming next? It's more Benlings. And, I don't mind this, but really, where's the follow-up? These Benlings are going to kill something, but they're not going to end the game unless you follow it up. Now, Marauders are actually a very good counter to Benlings. Marauders are armoured, so Marauders don't die as easily, take splash damage from the Benlings, as we can see. They are bruised but not dead like Marines would be. And additionally, in this tech lab, if you research this concussive shell, it means when Marauders shoot things, they slow them down, and that actually slows the Benlings so that you can get a second shot into them before they can impact. And it's a really crucial upgrade if you're playing Marauders against Benlings. A little bit of micro goes a long way against Benlings, especially with these Marauders. If you shoot and then pull the Marauders back, shoot, pull the Marauders back with the concussive shell, and with the Zerg not having researched Benling speed, which you would research here, there it is, those Marauders could essentially kite these Benlings all day long and never take a shot from them. You just keep pulling back, shoot, pull back, shoot, pull back, shoot, pull back, shoot. The concussive shell slows these down so they can't possibly catch up with you, and those Benlings will, die for no need. But this next wave of Benlings coming in, this is going to do huge amounts of damage. These Marauders are already hurt. These are still building nothing. What we need to see here is a tech lab so that siege tanks can come out. Siege tanks are brutal against marauders. They do splash damage, as you against marauders, against banelings. They do splash, as you might imagine. Banelings are very squishy indeed. You know, so a couple of siege tank volleys can just splat these before they get anywhere. These marauders are unfortunately not going to be able to see this one. Not too far off it though. Now why? Don't be attacking. Doesn't really kind of achieve much, you know, wipe out these workers. Although with this much bank, maybe that isn't going to achieve much either. So I do like to see this. I like to see, you know, the buildings are on fire, so send some workers to repair them. It is much cheaper to repair a depot than it is to build one. But look, these buildings not building anything. As I may have mentioned in a previous cast, you know, it's really worthwhile to get into the habit, taking no chances here, to get into the habit of just glancing up into the top right corner every, you know, whatever, every 20 seconds, whatever, and just checking, how's my supply? Am I going to be supply blocked soon? And how's my money? Have I got loads of money? Because if I have, you know, if I look up and I see this, I'm just grabbing these workers and I'm just going barracks, 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 barracks. Then I'm coming back and grabbing these workers and I'm going factory, factory, starport. You know, because this isn't doing me any good, but having those production buildings up means that I can quickly produce an army. At present, we're building units out of a single barracks, and you know, it's literally, it's going to take probably till midnight to spend that much money from one barracks, isn't it? So yeah, in the production tab we can see armor order, we can see zerglings, we can see the lair finally happening for the zerg player. Now that the lair is complete, the Benling upgrade is available, so that Benling speed is an important upgrade if indeed Benlings are what you're going to stick to. Looks like it's a transition to roaches, however. So the Zerg player looking very much on top of this game, mining from 3 bases, sort of, has got some army. Let's have a quick look at the APMs. Wow, look at that. That's good work, Nils. What is it? Oh, that's less good. But you know, for a while there, that was pretty impressive. Uh-oh, I appear to have a Skype call incoming. This is awkward, isn't it? I'm just going to ignore that and hope for the best that it goes away. And it probably will. And I can't help but feel that is somebody, yes it is, asking me why I'm not playing StarCraft, why I'm in this replay. So not to worry. It does mean I've got to go, so I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. I can't help but feel that the writing is on the wall for the Terran player. Here we have a couple of medivacs out at long last. I'd like to see them above these units where they can heal them. These Benlings are gonna smash everything once again. No defense from these Benlings. You need the siege tanks for that. Maybe a barracks at the front. This time there is a follow-up, and it's coming. And this follow-up is surely going to end again, I believe. Yeah, it looks like it's about to be all over. So, you know, I'm a little surprised because in the previous game, Robowindsurf, if nothing else, did build a bunch of units, you know. May not have used them a great deal, but certainly did build them. But this time, we just didn't see, we saw these idle buildings, not up to much. And that's a bit of a shame. However, Trumpinator looking, you know, fairly imperious with this sort of Benling assault, followed by roaches. GG, that's all there is to say really. These units are just going to clean this up pretty quickly, especially on times 4 speed. And once they have, this game will be over. Okay, till next time. GG.